Hello and welcome back to another video today here again on Forza Horizon 5, and as promised in a couple of the recent car reviews, we are taking a very first look at the Forza Edition Mini here on Forza Horizon 5. So, well, we all know about the original Mini and what it's, well, normally like, so let's not go into any of that, but this one is slightly different, mainly because it is in fact electric. As with all other Forza editions, it's pre-built to the top of a class, which in this case is A class. It has 235 horsepower, 235 newton-meters of torque, weighs 650 kilos, so super light compared to most electric things that are very heavy. It's all-wheel drive, and as with a lot of Forza editions, it comes with a kind of boost thing, so it boosts your stunt skills. To, well, help you bank better skill chains effectively. But yeah, quite different to the classic Mini we all know. It has a wide body, so it's probably going to be super grippy with the wide body and the all-wheel drive. But let's take it out for a drive and see what it's like before we lap it around the festival. So I'm kind of expecting it to accelerate ridiculously, handle pretty well because it's light and all-wheel drive, but not have a particularly high top speed. So, well, let's see if that's true, first of all. I mean, it accelerates quickly, that is, well, kind of true. What's it like in the corners? Shall we see if we can... Oh, wow. Oh, I'm kind of shifting gears without really thinking, but it does appear to have two of them. So all I can think is they've kind of copied the... Is it the Taycan that has two drives? That for some reason Forza have put in as two gears, even though that's not really what they are. I think there's a couple of electric cars in here that do that, but it's interesting they've chosen to do that with the Mini. But yeah, they may well have copied some elements from the Taycan, because usually, well, in reality anyway, a lot of electric swaps into older cars are Tesla parts, basically. But Forza aren't allowed Teslas in their game at the moment for complicated licensing reasons, so obviously they've not done that with this, but yeah. It is an interesting choice to make the Forza Edition Mini, well, completely different by being electric. Yes, with some of the others, they, I think, sometimes put in engine swaps and things that you can't do to the normal version, but completely swapping it like this is a completely new thing. So it is an interesting decision for them to have taken. So far, I'm not minding how it drives. Whether it's actually going to be any good or not is a completely other matter, really, isn't it? Here on the interior it is, well, it's a classic Mini. It's exactly the same, except for roll cage, which of course you can put in the Mini anyway. So yeah, they've not made any changes there. So I'm guessing the top speed is not going to be great, but we might as well see what it is. I mean, it's going to be higher than a normal original Mini, isn't it? But yeah, electric cars generally don't have the highest top speeds. They're just very, very fast off the line. So yeah, we'll see what this can do. I mean, we're doing 150 already. So I'll see what it does on the downhill. But I think 150 is pretty much the top speed on the flat. It's actually surprising how long it takes to get to this downhill section at 150, even though it's quite a high speed. But it appears we're getting up to 155 is the highest I saw down there. So 150 realistically is the real top speed, because, well, that's what it did on the flat bit, and then 155 if you push it on the downhill. One thing I have noticed with this car, though, is, well, I know it's electric, but even as electric cars go, it's quite quiet. They normally kind of buzz or whir more than that. I think they've kind of been a bit lazy with the sound of it, if I'm honest. Anyway, let's go and see how it does around the festival. Not quite sure whether this is going to count as a stock or modified time, though, because it's kind of already built to the top of A class. Anyway, let's see how it does. So, as with all previous new cars, the Mini was given 5 laps around the festival, and what you're seeing here is the fastest lap time. So, to give you an idea, the closest thing we've had to the top of A-Class on the stock leaderboard, which in the end is where this is going to go, because this is how you're given it in the game, and I haven't modified it, so in that sense, I guess it is kind of stock. But anyway, the fastest 2 A-Class cars to go around so far are the Ferrari 330 and the Jaguar XJ220, and they're both at A-Class 780-ish. And they did kind of mid to slow 107s, I should say, both in the 107.6s. So that's kind of where you'd hope this would be. You'd hope it'd be slightly faster than those, because it is in fact at the top of A. But it was a complete mess to drive this car. It kind of understeered and then oversteered and slid about, and it just really wasn't a good handling car. It was almost impossible to get a nice lap in. I also resorted to turning in kind of too early for corners in the hope I would get round, which cost me a checkpoint on one of the laps. It really was not a nice car to drive, and that is reflected in the time. So yes, the lap time is absolutely terrible. It's slower than the Nissan Gold Leader, which was 791 rated and already wasn't a good car. Slower than the 2 cars I said it should be near. And, well, it's faster than a Z4 and a 911 Sport Classic, but they're way down in the middle of A-Class at 750. And in terms of cars built to the top of A-Class, it's, well, basically they're doing, so this did a 108.368, they're doing low 107s, almost all of them, and a well-tuned car by somebody who knows what they're doing will, well, I can get round in a low 106, so the Mini is really not very good. So, well, let's go and see if there's any upgrades or customization for it. I'm not expecting there to be a lot, because, well, it's a Forza edition and it's electric, and generally electric cars don't have many options here in Forza, so let's take a look and see if there's anything we can actually do with this car. So, kind of as I expected, there's not a lot here. I did kind of know there wouldn't be. So, there's motor and battery, and there's a few bits, so we'll just run through what options are available, but I'm suspecting I can't do all that much with it. We might be able to get it to the top of S1, but I'm not sure that's particularly a good idea. So you can upgrade the motor and battery. You can... what can we do with tyres? It's probably already on slicks, is it? I think it must be on semi-slicks, actually. Maybe it's on semi-slicks. Yeah, it must be, because the slicks do actually improve it, apparently. So that might help. Drivetrain, diff, there's not much point me doing, because, well, I never tune anything like that anyway. No, I can't even get it to the top of S1, so there's not really much point doing another festival lap with it. So let's abandon that, because it's entirely pointless, and, well, I don't know what to do with this car at this point then. So it's clearly never going to be very fast for, well, lapping anything or racing. So all that was kind of left to do was, well, as it's got a stunt skills bonus, put a Kenneth Blocketh livery on and, well, go to the Stunt Park to mess about with it. Because this is, well, if it's got a stunt skill bonus and it's a stunt-themed update, this is kind of what it's for. It can do barrel rolls effortlessly. That was very lucky that that worked. First attempt. Can it make it look like I know what I'm doing? Even though I'm just drifting around in circles. I'm impressed that the first barrel roll worked. That was very lucky. Where's the Yes, this bit. The loopity-loopity bit. Oh. Ah. There we go. Yes, so it's absolutely useless for racing, but it is kind of quite fun if you want to visit the Stunt Park, which I don't usually, to be honest. And this Stunt Park's, of course, going to be disappearing on Tuesday, so by the time this video's out, this will have all gone. So you can't go and mess about with your Forza Edition Mini there. So, well, yeah, there's not really much else I can say or do with this car. It's not very good. So, there we go. That is the Forza Edition Mini. It's kind of an interesting thought to electric swap a classic Mini in Forza for a Forza Edition, which is something they haven't really done before. So I'd love them to kind of do things like this again, because it's a fun idea, but in practice it's not really a very good car. It doesn't handle very well, it understeers, it oversteers, it slides about, it's not fast, it won't set a good lap time. Yes, in theory it's designed for stunt driving, I guess, but I don't really do much of that, so it's a bit useless to me. I mean, it's kind of fun, I get it, but yeah, not very good for actual using for anything interesting or useful. And you can't really upgrade it to, well, anything. I think maybe you'd be able to fiddle around with the upgrades to keep it in A, at the top of A there, but with better handling. Maybe you'd be able to tune some of that out of it, but in the end it's not really a very good car. So if you haven't gone and got it, don't worry, it's not really worth having. If you have, then it's a fun little thing to mess about with, I guess, but other than that, it's not really useful for anything. So yeah, not really a very good car, a little bit disappointed, and, well, I'll be driving a modified, not electric Forza Edition Mini if I want to drive a Mini, because they are pretty fast in Forza. But anyway, there we go. That is going to do it for a first look at the Forza Edition Mini, and, well, as always, I'll be back to test out all of the new festival playlist and car pass cars, not anything returning, just stuff that's new, when they come in the update on Tuesday, which obviously they'll be released every week as usual. But for now, for a first look at the Forza Edition Mini, that is going to be all. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.